Well, I'm sitting here with I Am Unlimited right now, and we want to get to know these guys. So starting from this end over here, let's get to know you guys.
All right, my name is Marcus Johnson.
My name is Demetrius Wilson.
Jamal Johnson.
Okay, guys. So just give me a brief description of how all this got started.
Good. Well, what it was is that God had gave Pastor Demetrius a vision about a live recording. It's a certain amount of songs that God had gave him, like through incidences in his life. And we had worked on a previous project before with him. You know, we had met him through a fellowship member of ours that attends a fellowship with me and Marcus. And we met, actually got a chance to be actually cordial and begin to actually discuss the vision when it was at a particular rehearsal that we was doing for the teenagers. And he came in there, and what was funny to me is just like, Marcus, I asked him, well, do you play? Because Andrew spoke highly of him. And when Marcus said, well, do you play? He's like, I play a little bit. And next thing you know, this guy is just like going all over the board and singing, and everybody in the fellowship just like. I'd like to add that he was swaying, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to put that out there.
And everybody just stopped, and it's just like, and not for some reason, it was just like God instantly, because me and Marcus, we have been working with each other since we was like 5, doing things, and we had a vision in our mind of where we wanted to go, as far as when it came to music, and have the impact on the music industry in a way that has never been experienced before. So it's just like, it was automatic when he came. It was like me and my brother looked at each other like, that's a missing piece. And then like when he came, he's like, you two are the missing pieces. And it was almost, not, I want to say spontaneous, it was just miraculous how it just happened. Yeah, put it all together.
Just instantaneous.
So let's go a little deeper. What is I Am Unlimited?
In one stretch of a description, it's almost kind of hard to put it into like a container of words to say that it is one specific thing. I mean, the whole thrust and emphasis, of course, is just the I am part of it.
Right.
Because the reality is that we believe strongly in the God that we serve.
Yes.
And we believe that there is no other that is beside him. There is no other that is like him or greater than him. And a lot of what we see is not always portraying him for who he really is. And we believe that the Father always reserves for himself a remnant, a people, something that is holy unto himself, to where no matter what is happening in the earth realm or what is going on or whatever is taking place, he still finds a way to get glory. And we believe that in the genesis of this, that it was, you know, as they described, it was all his handiwork. It wasn't, hey man, let me get with this guy, get with this guy. It was just, the Father just brought things together in a timing, because the reality is that we were all in vicinity of one another for some time without ever having met. But there's this scriptural principle called the fullness of time. And I believe that in the fullness of time, things just came together the way they were ordained to come together. And I Am was formulated. I mean, when we first got together, there was no name.
Right.
It was just, we knew that the Father was saying the same thing to all of us in one way or another, and that our focus and emphasis and direction was, you know, going the same way. And it just formulated, and one day, the Father spoke to this gentleman.
Actually, it was funny. He spoke to him. You got to tell that story when that happened. It was, we actually weren't thinking about it. We knew that the Father had given us something. We didn't know what it was. We knew that he had linked us together. So we just kind of talked about some things. And one day we were actually working out with our uncle. And I just heard him just drop something in my spirit, because we were just talking about it in the past and we weren't really focused on it. And that's kind of a microcosm of what's been going on for the whole project. There's some things we may not be focused on, but he just gives it to us. And the same thing with the name. I was just standing there and he just says, I am. Anyway, it wasn't like, you know, this big trumpet call. It was just, I am. I'm thinking, that's who he is. He is the great I am. He is everything. Everything that we need is encompassed in him. So I just looked at my brother. he's got a real cool, calm demeanor. So I guess he picked the phone. Amen. It was just amen, amen. So I knew that we were good. But he really did, just like with everything else. He just really just dropped the name in our spirit. He just said, I am.
Okay. All right. Well, can you tell us about the songs, on this project? I'm really excited to know about these songs. What's going on with that?
I'm going to start with you.
Okay. What I can tell you about the songs, and there's so many different ways to say. It's difficult for us to say that we wrote the song. I in some descriptions I've told people the songs just kind of happen to us. It's just in a moment, the Father, there's a message that He wants to communicate, and just being in that vein and being in that place where you can actually hear from Him. I'll give you one example. There's the one song which is actually the title song to the project. It's called Manifest. We were at the fellowship there, and we were in the middle of intercessory prayer. To the keyboard. I go to the keyboard, I sit down and just begin to play notes and music. And they're just, it's such an impact, it leaves such a lasting impact, because people listen and say, well, wow, that's an amazing song.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, to God be the glory. There's no way to take credit for it. I couldn't have even come up with,
I'm glad I took it too. I'm glad I was there.
I mean, I got it too. I just happened to be there to get the download. And even the songs that we pinned together, it's just, in that moment, it was just something where we come together. Sometimes there's another agenda that we kind of have that we're kind of focused on, and then the Father just invades and says, wait a minute, I have something else I want to give you. And I believe it's that type of submission that the Father really wants from those who are going to echo, what He wants into the earth realm. And so that's what.
And with those songs, on the gospel scene, I guess, whatever you want to call it, now a lot of songs are geared toward how the worshiper feels. This is the time to get your blessing. This is that you come over, you come out. And those songs are good. I understand the genesis of them, coming back from especially our people. Some of the songs they had to sing to kind of get themselves over. But the songs have really gotten away from Him, really just focusing on Him. Because when you truly give your worship to Him, everything else is taken care of.
Right.
And so the song that He allows us to have, I remember he told me in particular, he said there are so many songs in that book. He was pointing to the Bible. There's so many songs in the book that haven't even been penned yet. And so any song that the Father gives us is all scriptural based. There is nothing that comes out of either our hurt, our anguish, our despair. It's only to God. Because if He is not the focus, if He's not the center of the song, then it's not going to accomplish what it was set out to do. And
It's like, if God doesn't want to participate where we are right now, then what we're doing is senseless. Okay, so that's why the first thing first is we pay homage to the one that gave us the reason, actually gave us a life on why we're here. And in that, it's like he finds respect in that first we pay respect to him, and then he gives us a new song that he wants the world to hear. And that's how we take it. And that's why we embrace everything. We're going to eventually get into talking about what happened, but we embrace everything that we have to deal with, because that breeds worship. And what breeds out of worship is to me, a miraculous sound that comes from God. If I can trust you to worship me regardless, I'll give you something that will help somebody else get over just like you. So here's a song, like I was saying, Make Me an Instrument. And that song, all the songs are pivotal, but for some reason, he really gets to dance, and when Make Me an Instrument comes, it's just, because it just, to me, it talks about what we are, period, what we are called to do.
So through you guys' experience with the music, what do you believe people will pull from in their moment of worship?
Good question.
Amen. The desire, the intent, and the hope that we believe people will pull from this experience is that they will actually find that moment where they are really reintroduced to an intimacy with the Father that he so desires for them to have. There's one passage that just kind of comes to mind where the Father says, "These people draw nigh to me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." And sometimes it's easy to be engaged and active in an atmosphere, but that's really no indicator of the depth of relationship or connection that's really with the Father.
Absolutely.
So the takeaway is not to be impressed with the ability of the musicians or the vocal ability of us as singers. We've had enough of that. The goal is, I really found a place of intimacy. There is something that was awakened in me that, really I desire to have, and probably have replaced it with other things. And so it's the hope is that this is an eternal impact, that for the rest of your life, when you leave from this experience, you're leaving saying, I'm never going to worship the same way that I have been before. I'm really going to do this with my heart. I'm really going to put all of myself, into worshiping the Father and drawing nigh and getting close with him.
What I think was a big testament is that when we actually we went to a fellowship to do a conference. I forgot what the conference was. And nobody was worshiping. Nobody. Probably about a couple. My wife came. His wife was there. And nobody was worshiping except those two. And there was interceding. But when we got up there, and anybody, you've been in a praise team, anybody that renders any type of praise and worship in front of an audience, and everybody's just stoic, you're like. So if we wanted this experience to affect the people, we ourselves had to partake of that same experience. So right then and right there, we didn't care where we was at. We just lost all sight of who was in the room, all those that were collective in the same body, that had the same type of goal. We want to see the Father here. Yeah. That's exactly what, and I think that, I don't want to say ignited us, because each individual had their own personal relationship with Christ, but as a whole, it ignited every single person. And in that particular moment, it awakened. Like, I don't care what the situation is. Yeah. We're going to exalt God. And from that, we found out later, probably about a couple of weeks later, they said it made an impact. And now they want us to come back, not because of the musical talent, but because, like he said, we want the presence of the Father to be there so strong that you can't deny him. Yeah. You can't deny him. And if a pure heart and a pure vessel brings forth the praises of God, you can't deny the fact that the Father is present, regardless if you're looking stoic or if you're involved in it. And that's what we had to do from the inception when we did our first, I don't want to say recording, our first worship together at a foreign church. I called it foreign because it was absolutely dead. You understand? It was absolutely dead. But the Father moved anyway. He moved anyway, and that's what, and I think we can attest to that because we had our own personal experience concerning that.
And we know that, we'll just put it out there, we know there's many folks who can sing better than us, who can play better than us, whatever. But all those things that we've seen, it allows you to have just a temporary moment with an eternal Father. So instead of just going, like you said, just going away with just that one moment that you had, I came in there and I was able to get my praise on, as they would say.
Yeah.
So it's just that temporary moment that you have with an eternal God who's ready to be there for you, and no matter what. And so what the Father is, the assignment, we always call it that, the assignment that's given to us, is just like my brothers have said, it is to reintroduce worship as it is in heaven. Because if you're going to serve an eternal God, then your worship has to be eternal. That's a loaded question.
I'll let you. No, honestly, we'll let you go because we'll let you go.
Again, one of the things that I think has been lost in the understanding of what worship is in some ways people perceive worship to be what happens when we get on a platform, what happens when we get a microphone in our hand, or when we get behind an instrument. That is only a small portion of what worship really is. Worship really is how I live. I think the apostle wrote it best when he said, "In him we live and move and have our being."
Yeah.
That the essence of who we are comes from him, absolutely. And when that is your life, when I mean that he is really the center and the focus of your life, you know, at this point, I don't understand how people make it without him. I sort of kind of understand now why people just kind of take a bottle full of pills or jump off a building when they have plenty of money. It's because when he's the missing element of your life. You know, it's impossible to really deal with all the weights and the things that you have to carry in your life. When we talk about the Father just proving himself, you know, strong over the journey, as we've gotten closer and closer to the time of fulfilling this assignment, there have been things that have just come that were, you know, totally unexpected.
Yeah.
Experiences that we definitely would not have signed up for voluntarily.
With any of us.
But things that were necessary, because in order to get to a place, the reality is that you really can't call a thing a sacrifice unless it's dead. And so in the process of becoming that sacrifice that can be offered up to him, because that's really all we're trying to do, just put ourselves on the altar and allow ourselves to be offered up to him as a sweet smelling savor. We've gone through some things. I mean, even right now at this very present moment, there are some experiences and things. I just, over 2 days ago, just lost my baby sister. Just, you know, passed away from some things, some complications that she was experiencing and having. And this is after having, about 8 years ago, lost another sibling at the age of 26. Experiences like that. No keyboard, no drum rudiment, no vocal acrobatics touches that. The only thing that brings resolve to that and that puts you in a place where you can survive and you can live through it is being in a place of intimacy with the Father. Because at the end of the day, people say encouraging words and you appreciate it and you are glad that people are genuinely concerned about you. But there is a place in you that nothing can touch except the presence of God.
Yeah.
And you need that intimacy. That when I don't have a keyboard player, I am a keyboard player, but when I don't have a keyboard in front of me, I still need to be able to be at a place where I have such an intimacy with the Father where I can still lift my hands and worship him and really have this joy that is unspeakable, that is full of glory, and really have the peace that passes all understanding, keeping my heart and my mind sound and keeping me from going crazy and losing my mind. When people are falling out, I want to fall out too.
Yeah.
The natural part of me wants to fall out too and break down. But because I have a connection with him, it brings us to the place where the Apostle Paul says, when I am weak, then I'm strong. Because it's not me. His grace is sufficient. His strength is then made perfect in my weakness. So even right now, in this particular moment of bereavement, you know, with the family, there's a sustaining power that has come from a place of intimacy with the Father.
So the basis is what's happening when we come to the platform and when we put a microphone in and we get behind an instrument is the essence of what I'm doing all the time. This is not a performance or a show for a moment to impress people with me. It is an invitation for you to join me where I am. Now, you can come and be a part of this, or you could stay out there in the outer court, but it's totally up to you.
Really just an illustration of everyday living. That's all it is. Really.
And we really have on this journey, there has been a lot, like he lost his baby sister, and we lost our grandmother not too long ago, so a lot of things have been coming up. But I understand that, I know that the God in all of us, he's saying the same thing. That's how we know we're on the same plane, because it's one God and it's one voice. And he's telling us the same thing.
You preach, practice what you preach, and to actually have to go through that for these months to issue this out, it hurt, but it was a privilege.
Son of the Most High can worship on his way to death. Certainly, we can worship now.
Period.
Amen. Well, that definitely, we definitely appreciate you guys coming out and just sharing your journey with us and being transparent and just allowing us to have just an open door view of everything that you guys have gone through. Definitely was blessed by this, you know, and I know that everyone that will see this will be blessed as well. So
Improv. My man.
So we appreciate I Am Unlimited, and looking forward to seeing what God, you know, will do with you guys and how you will bless the people.
I am unlimited on an iPhone low battery. What up?